practice of liberation. It is like the following analogy: after being released from King Bala's jail, one had to follow a single pattern of behavior till the end of one's life and therefore was not freed from bondage. If childish people ever directly perceived the suffering of cyclic existence as do the exalted, their mind or heart and body would both completely fail, but because they do not realize it, they continue as if they were happy. It is like Drabala, who sacrificed his life out of desire to be chief, and was a chief again in his next life. If ordinary people realized the suffering of the cycle of rebirths, they would give up worldly existence for fear of it, and by destroying it completely would become free.
Though belonging to the best caste and having the finest possessions is known as happiness, aversion even toward that is appropriate. People of good caste and so forth who are not inflated with pride are rare. Moreover, since those who are conceited think themselves best and out of envy want to crush their equals and betters, they lack compassion. Thus the topics of instruction and so forth say that it is very rare to go from light to light. It is like Jamadagni's son, who did away with members of the royal caste 21 times, because he was proud of his strength and lacked compassion. Assertion: though the proud are deprecable because they perform ill deeds, it is appropriate for those without pride to strive for a high rebirth.
Answer: it is said that those who promise to be chaste in this life for the sake of a high rebirth in future and who renounce sense objects, having cultivated antipathy toward them, will, as a result of their practices, have whatever attractive objects they desire when they take a high rebirth. If, accordingly, out of aversion one gives up the things one has, it is a perverse practice to seek them again. Why would the wise consider such a pursuit correct? It is unreasonable to seek what one has deliberately renounced. It is like the following analogy: when rams want to butt, though they first recoil, it is perverse because they do so in order to charge. Even those with large resources should not be attached to them, for wealth, the result of meritorious actions like giving, must constantly be protected from other factors such as robbers, thieves, fire, water, and so forth. How can anything needing constant and diligent protection from other factors be one's own exclusive property over which one has control? Though the effects have been accomplished, they cannot benefit one as desired. The need to expend effort constantly on their account is like the sustained effort required in cultivating a spiritual guide. Assertion: if practices like giving are wrong, one should follow conventionally accepted practices.
Answer: adherence to those is also improper. The term religious practice is applied to different social customs like giving away and taking a bride. Such conventions are called religion, but they change according to place and time. It is therefore improper to be attached to society which, though it appears more influential than religion, does not remain stable. It is like taking one's daughter as bride in a particular country. A certain man visited Yawana and watched a local man light a fire. By means of a spell, the fire uttered the words, "You may take your daughter as wife." The visitor, who was very lustful, had an attractive young daughter at home. He approached the man from Yawana and offered him a lot of money for the spell. When he got home he wanted to marry his daughter and asked the fire to speak. The fire said, "The customs are different." Assertion: pleasure does not occur without attractive sense objects. Since these are the result of merit, it is permissible to perform meritorious actions out of attachment to attractive objects in order to have pleasure.
Answer: though attractive visual forms, sounds, and other objects are obtained through virtues like giving, those who desire liberation disparage and consider even such sense objects bad, since they are the root of futility and are constantly affected by suffering and impermanence. If one becomes happy and virtuous by giving up a source of faults, what need is there to acquire it? No need at all. It is like the following analogy from Candrakirti's commentary: when a certain monk went to beg alms in Cambodia, a trickster told him not to speak in that country. A monk went to beg from the people of Cambodia. For his own purposes, a trickster told him, "It is the custom in this country not to speak when going for alms, otherwise people will make fun of you." The monk believed him and acted accordingly. The people thought that the fellow had made and sent a mechanical man to dupe them. They marveled at the way he opened and closed his eyes just like a real man, and they discussed all his parts. Then they made a similar mechanical man and sent him to the trickster, who told the monk that it was time to speak to people. He did so, which amazed them, and they said that the trickster had clearly outwitted them by doing what they could not do. When the monk discovered the trickster's true nature, he considered him bad. Assertion: though sense objects should be disparaged, one ought to create merit for the sake of kingship, a source of superlative pleasure.
Answer: it is inappropriate to do so. For adepts who have gained mental control and can effortlessly accomplish whatever they desire, practices such as giving for the sake of attaining worldly authority are senseless. Whoever strives for the authority of mere verbal domination is a fool among men, because he seeks kingship, a source of great futility. It is like the following analogy: an astrologer had a lovable son whom he killed when he knew the boy would die after 6 days. His authority to make astrological predictions caused him to act in a futile way. Assertion: one should do meritorious actions, since one wants their effects, such as wealth, in future lives.
Answer: if, on realizing that there will be future effects such as wealth, one grasps at practices like giving, out of greed and attachment, one will have to experience many bad rebirths as a result of that attachment. When you see that the future outcome of such attachment is a bad rebirth, aren't you afraid? What use is attachment? Just as you do not grasp at bad rebirth, do not grasp at practices either. It is like an unwise person who buys a place that gives rise to suffering. Just like a wage earned by a worker, merit will come to resemble a payment. Therefore the wise do not do even meritorious actions motivated by attachment. When the wise do not want even the virtue that produces worldly existence, because of seeing it as a cause for the cycle of rebirths, how could they do demeritorious actions which are non-virtuous? They always avoid them. It is like the following.